First, you have to trust. You come out of the anxiety mode and the fear that you have them. You are afraid you may not be able to get rid of them fast enough. First, you have to come out of that mode also of victim. Know that these parasites, these are parasite implants. Think about the image you got when you listened to Elsa talk about her daughter's expulsion of something that looked like an implant. Think about that. Even though this may be purely etherical, take that as just as that image came, and know that this is for your own empowerment. That if there has been, on some level, there must have been a consent, a conscious creation of this. It is because a more powerful step forward will come from it. From this experience of having them and then having them removed and then sharing about it, and thereby spreading also the message, the knowledge that this is a real thing that we may have to deal with for a while until for everyone, the devices are available to remove them. And this is in the game of the inverted, to slow certain, I get images, I don't know why I get images, to slow certain images down. I get I mag, and mag is power and I power, and to slow I power down. Okay, that was a confirmation. Because true self isn't slowed down. True self is dancing in the rain. True self is dancing in this stage with these props, in this narrative, in this, not narrative, in this storyline, in this story. And is not suffering. But we do understand that it is a suffering on the physical level of the experience. We don't look down or belittle that. We know that. And this drama, this dramatic, not drama, but this dramaticness, this intensity of it, is what then makes the story really good and really juicy when it comes to its fruition and disentanglement and liberation, resolution, redemption. Yes. You know, that feeling of how it feels to be released out of prison. It is so elating, and that is like a powerful wave that you then experience yourself, that comes through you, through that joy of liberation. Think about a dog that gets adopted from the kennels, yeah, how happy they are, or yes, and it's a relief, and when relief is there, then all that heaviness that was there before, that which was dense, which was suppressed and held down, when it is released through the heart of joy. So it is not released as a heaviness into the field. It is, on the contrary, it is taken out of the field and transformed, that heaviness, into joy. And then that is a wave that we send out. We send out into the field. And these, of course, are waves, light waves, that will create tidal waves, very big waves. Now think about them. Think about the big waves. When we say big waves, yes, think about the longitudinal waves. A big wave, part of a big wave. That means you are connected into a very high self of yourself, a very high dimensional version of yourself, and those currents. So you are a part of those currents, and that means they are a part of your body. They can begin to surf in your waters. And that means expansion. So rather than please, we call you forth. We call you forth to focus on the expansion. So you know that you have these implants. You can feel them. You have the experience of them. And it causes great anxiety in your heart to have, because you get these shocks, not just in your heart, but in your solar and navel chakras. But particularly your heart goes into anxiety because it knows it has that implant, and it also knows that the spin is gathering, that the storm is gathering momentum, that is gathering momentum to go higher, to bring in the high, to implode and bring in the higher currents, to bring in the bliss. And so it knows what's coming. It's like a wave that is pushing it forward into the implant that it already knows is there. And so that also causes anxiety for the heart. And it, like when you woke up this morning, and even before the when you fell back asleep, and then the whole series of shocks began, all of a sudden you felt this anxiety so strong in your heart, and like there was something going on. You didn't know what it was. And it is your heart in panic. Your heart in panic that you can see, it's being pushed into these shocks. Mm-hmm. And so you can still feel that subtle anxiety. You can still feel that in you. And this is placed there because there are certain individuals on the planet, including yourself, that have a very strong, very big heart field, very big compassionate field, and that that are maßgeblich, so that means to a great degree, they are a part of, like, let's say, the front wavers that are gathering that storm that is gathering of the 10% that will ignite and trigger the solar flash event, which is a dance which connects the sun, your own heart. It connects your own heart with the heart of the earth and the heart of the sun into the greater suns, and which is going to trigger the event of bringing these certain frequencies in a big wave, bringing a big wave, and this is like the big wave, towards Earth. So, okay, which signals we're ready now. We're ready because we can hold it. Because the thing is that those that are in the 10%, that have the capacity to hold these waves in their hearts, they act like not buffers, but what is it? It's like they metabolize it. So it's like they metabolize it so that it's trickling down and making it bite-sized, made, you know, for everyone else. For one thing, so that nobody gets overwhelmed. And it's not even in this cause-effect manner, the way that we're relaying it here through your language, through your mind. It is that every instrument has its role to play in the symphony. And the beings that have this big heart field, they are going to trigger this event because that is the signal we are ready. And that means we are ready means this is not going to cause any injury. Yes, it is not going to cause any injury to anyone. Except for those that are ready to leave, where it's their time to go. Anyways. And what that also means is that anyone who has an iota of potential to open their hearts and feel compassion will be included and will be able to surf the wave. Yeah. So yes, that is why these implants have, you know, they have been inserted. To keep your heart from your heart field from expanding, to hold that back. They're buying time that way. See how you're now finding more peace with it. As you hear the truth about it. And as you hear the truth about it, you also, that means you receive, and you are owning more of a more subtle, a more deeper layer of yourself, and of story, of your own story, and of your own power, that you are recognizing your own power, because you can first recognize it when the ego will not take credit for it, or tailor a coat out of that for itself, to tailor some kind of special identity that is elevated over others, you know, that is inflated. Yes. You will not allow that, because it simply doesn't feel good. So you notice, because it's not real. That perspective of the egoic mind of, you know, taking credit in a way, tailoring a coat out of it, like like putting the feathers in its own cap. Like, look at, you know, me, I'm special, I have a, you know, open heart or big heart field. It doesn't work, you know, in your true self. It's like, that doesn't work at all. It just doesn't compute. So, because you're at that level now where that can't happen, where if it were to happen, if the ego were to do that, you would detect it and it would just feel wrong, and you could smirk at it, you know, you could have a good grin about it, and that's it. It would have no hold, you know, it could not happen, the inflation. So that is why you can now be receiving this greater truth about yourself. And there's the truth coming through. We can feel it now, the lightness, the peace. Also that you are positioned here in a place of that has been ramping up its very, very anxious energy all around you, with the traffic being led right by your house, with all the renovations, all the construction work that has been going on nonstop all around your house, with the terrible air conditions that that are here in this city, and all the electronics, everything that has been put into place. And it feels like this morning you are realizing once again how it feels that it's caving in. It's like this wall of stressful vibrations that are surrounding you and beginning to squeeze you and cave you. And that is also, we want you to also come to these terms with it, that to realize that it is a squeezing. If they think about this density gathering around you tighter and tighter, it is literally squeezing you out. It's going to squeeze you out and give you the momentum that you need to move away, far away, or far away is relative, but to a place where that really supports, not that this didn't give you what you needed now, okay? But that supports, because then you're ready for it. You've gone through this initiation here, that supports your physicality, to come to peace, for supports your nervous system. And because now you're ready to, because you faced it, and the facing of it is coming out of victim consciousness of it and coming out of the projection mode. So that when you were always prompted, because why were you prompted from us? Because you turned to us every time you felt suffering. You turned to us, so you earned the prompt. You came to us so we could come to you. With your anxiety, with your anger, with your frustration, with your suffering, you came to us. And we showed you, we implored you to turn around the projection and to find that. Where are you projecting your anger out? Where are you projecting the frustration out? Where are you holding the images of somehow changing the situation on the outside, but with an angry spin, with an angry beam? That projecting beam is angry, and it's like a laser beam that goes, go away, go away, go away. I hate you, and this is terrible, and I feel so bad, and the people who are creating this should suffer for it. The people who are involved and who make these awful decisions and who build these things, and and the cars that drive so fast and so loud through the streets, the drivers, they should have some kind of a consequence for it and suffer. And it's like, that's that frequency, that's the code in your frequency, that's the code. And we pointed that out to you. How that was the frequency, the energy that you were projecting. And that is when that muscle of consciousness that could have, that does have choice points, that has a choice over this projector, that could take it back and own the projection, which we'll come to in a second. It's like completely, that muscle is like completely limp, and we pointed that out to you because it is limp, because it's never been used. We've been conditioned in this way of projection. We've been conditioned to project all of the feelings, like unpleasant, bad, suffering feelings. We don't want to use the word negative, yeah, because it's not correct in that sense. Positive and negative is the polarity of feminine, masculine. It's not the differentiation between what feels good and what feels bad. This is how you like it to be so clear. Yes. So we showed you, we pointed this out to you, that this is what holds you in the loop. This is what holds you captive, this being in the projecting mode. So that grab that feeling, and that is why it is only when that feeling is triggered. It is only when that feeling of being a victim of your circumstances, of your environment, because you are suffering, when that is triggered, that you can get a hold of it. Because it's in you already before it was triggered. It's already there. Otherwise, it wouldn't show up in your field. So we showed you, get a hold of that anger, that frustration. And it's when you get a hold of it, that is on the energy feeling level. Then you are so focused, so your attention is so in that feeling of that energy, of that emotion, that you cannot at the same time have the images in your head that are the correlating images to that projection at the same time, whatever that is. So then that goes away. So you don't have to work on the image. You work directly in the emotion. It's easier, and that's also that's what works. If you work on the projection, it will always come back as long as the emotion is there. Yeah, in the mind, that vision, that will always come back as long as the emotion is there. So because this is an inverted emotion, remember, so everything that feels bad is an inverted spin emotion. So we said, now gather that, feel that, own that, love that. It's yours, feel that, and know that as you're feeling that, you're receiving it. And that's what it is. The receiving is bringing it from the inversion back into the organic. That is what brings it back into your flow, organic flow, so that it can implode through the heart, and that's what heals it. And this is why it had to be triggered and triggered and triggered, because all that potential was inside of you. All that frequency code of anger and frustration, of what was around you, toward what was coming at you. So the easiest way to do that, to trigger these emotions, was through noise and pollution, loud machine noise and pollution that would saw away at your nervous system. But it is also a wave, but it is these are destructive waves, which would cause you anxiety. But it triggers that potential for the anxiety from, because it is triggering your own reaction to it. When there is no more of that within you, then there cannot be any of that in your field either. Because it's like you're the projector, still the projector for your field. You still co-create, from everything that's in the DNA, that is sounded into your field. But when none of that distortion is there, it will not show up in your field either. But in order to resurrect, to align, to heal that distortion back into its natural flow, it has to be triggered so you can receive it, you know. So you can receive the projection, because the projection is that's the inversion, that's the distortion. So now we want you to focus on the joy in your heart. We want you to know, and no, it's not imagining, it's, do you believe that help will come? Do you believe that these implants will be removed out of your system? Do you believe that one day you will be free of these shocks and your energy flow can flow freely and naturally? Free of these blocks. Now, you thought that maybe you still have some organic blocks there that need to be healed. But believe me, when we say, when removing the, well, it works both ways, of course. If there are still organic blocks there from trauma, from your consciousness, it will be much easier to heal them. They will heal much quicker when the implants are removed. Vice versa, if it first is in line to heal the energetic blockages that are a representative, that, you know, on a different level of the implants, of that frequency of victim consciousness, because that there is a memory of being victimized and traumatic memory in those chakras, in those areas. Should it be that way, then that will also accelerate the healing of those, which you can do well on your own, which will come, of course, in the right time when you're ready into your field so you can heal them. And that will then, vice versa, accelerate your receiving the help and being able to remove the implants. But our question to you is, do you believe that you will be free of them and that your energy may flow freely? Because you don't ever remember that your energy was able to flow freely. Your current. Because what we detect is that you are still a small portion of you, a sliver there flowing in, that is like, it's useless. I'm never going to be free. It's, you know, that is that resignation energy. You know, it's never going to happen. That even this part of you has been worn down and beaten down so low that it even lost hope and it's resigned. That's that resignation current that you still have flowing. And so this is an opportunity to feel that and to just love that part of you. Just give that love. You have so much compassion for that aspect of you, where that current is coming from, no matter how subtle it is. And of course, that resignation, it also on its outer layers, it holds the fear that you will never be free and you will never be free of these implants. means that you will feel everyone in your field, which you already do, but of course to a greater degree. But you then also have the capacity to hold space for it, for them, for that feeling, for their hearts. And that is supporting them to hold space for themselves in their hearts. Which is why this you have been targeted, because it is also an acceleration to everyone around you in your field and everyone who is connected into your heart. But it's not a dangerous acceleration. It is an acceleration that they now have a greater capacity to hold through your heart, through being connected to your heart in whichever way. You will embody more plasma, bring more light in. To the field, to your environment. And obviously you are going to be in an environment then that is receptive to it. We are not in the business of pearls to the swines. That doesn't make any sense. We plant seeds in fertile soil. Yes, I can believe it. In the right time. The perfect time. Yes, in the perfect way. Yes. We want you to focus on that. And look forward to it. Know that it is coming. Thank you. It is done.